vigilante together are making Gotham great again. So, Jeffrey Epstein, as I said 2 weeks ago, his black book, all of this information that he has on everybody, it's going to get him killed. What happened this morning, August 10th? Jeffrey Epstein kills himself ahead of a sex trafficking trial. I'm sorry, this is misspelled. Let me read this for you. Ruling class pedophiles have Epstein murdered to cover up their crimes. I just wanted to reread that for you so you get it the right way. But this is how it's being spun quickly. There's no talk from the corporate media about how is this happening? How did this happen? The guy was under protective custody. How did this happen? Here's ABC. ABC broke this morning. They broke into their Good Morning America report for this.
We do want to start here with breaking news right now. Sources telling ABC News that accused sex trafficker Jeffrey Epstein has died by suicide. The 66-year-old multimillionaire had been awaiting trial at New York City's Metropolitan.
They don't say alleged suicide. They just say, oh, suicide. They're already just pushing that narrative. He killed himself. He killed himself. They're not asking the questions that you should be asking.
Correctional Center. ABC's Stephanie Ramos is here following this story and has the very latest developments. Stephanie.
With sources do tell ABC News that Jeffrey Epstein took his own life. The exact timing and circumstances are unclear. The mega millionaire is accused of exploiting and abusing dozens of underage girls. He'd been on suicide watch in that New York facility. You'll remember he was found unresponsive in his cell.
How do you kill yourself when you're on suicide watch? You're in protective custody on suicide watch. How do you do that? How does that happen? Is anyone at ABC asking this question? No. Who owns ABC? Disney. Disney owns ABC. Some Disney kids have come forward and said they were molested when they were, right? Just making that connection. I'm just asking why this question isn't being asked. A high-profile suspect that has ties to all these other people.
Last month with marks on his neck. Initially, investigators thought he'd tried to take his own life. They were...
Anybody see any up-close photos of the marks on his neck from a week ago? When they tried to kill him? I mean the suicide attempt.
They were then looking into whether he was assaulted by another inmate or if he'd even paid someone.
You hear that? Assaulted by an inmate? Get ready. If they do say, if somebody says, oh, he was murdered, get ready for some like Jack Ruby lone wolf. They're going to pin it on some lifer, right? Some lifer is just going to say, oh, we hate pedophiles. Because pedophiles do get attacked in prison. But this brings up a bigger question. If there's this ruling class network of pedophile sex traffickers, they could have anybody killed in prison. Anytime a mid-level pedophile who is a part of a ring gets arrested, they get killed in prison, and it's always just like, oh, the inmates, they always kill pedophiles in prison. Let's ask that question though. Now that, look who's Bill Clinton said he was only on Jeffrey Epstein's plane 4 times. Flight manifests say 26 times. Several of those times he didn't use his Secret Service detail. Now we're hearing Bill Richardson, former New Mexico governor, and other politicians, Prince Andrew, Virginia Robertson Giuffre, I forget to pronounce her last name, but is said she was forced to have sex with, she was raped by Prince Andrew in the Ghislaine Maxwell civil suit that came out in 2009. See, I know this is like tangled, like believe me, I've just been going through stories all day. I know it's tangled, but I want you to see what they're doing, see how big and how important this is. So every time you hear about a mid-level pedophile getting murdered in prison, was it just one inmate that was abused as a kid and killed the pedophile? Maybe. Maybe. But let me ask you this question. There's a prison guard making 60, 70 grand a year, and somebody goes, here's $300,000. Make this go away. Or give Jeffrey Epstein, at least give Epstein something and tell him to kill himself. I mean, that's all I can see. Anyway.
And to beat him up. Epstein's attorneys had been fighting to get him out on bail, but a judge refused. Prosecutors argued the mega millionaire's lifestyle and wealth made him an extreme flight risk. Now, this comes just a day after bombshell court documents were unsealed in a case connected to Epstein. The thousands of pages in deposition testimony revealing accusations against some famous names. This morning, Jeffrey Epstein implicated in new, stunning accusations pointing at several famous and powerful men. 2,000 pages of documents were unsealed in Manhattan federal court related to a 2015 defamation case brought by Virginia Roberts Giuffre against Ghislaine Maxwell, a longtime Epstein associate and British socialite. In court filings, Giuffre says that Maxwell recruited her while she was working as a locker room attendant in 2000 and was groomed to be a sex slave to Epstein, adding she was later directed by Maxwell and Epstein to have sex with many, quote, powerful men, including numerous prominent American politicians, powerful business executives, foreign presidents, and other world leaders. In deposition testimony included in the trove of documents, Giuffre alleges that she was directed to have sex with British royalty Prince Andrew, former governor and UN ambassador Bill Richardson, and the former influential senator from Maine, George Mitchell. All three men have strongly denied the allegations. In statements, both Mitchell and Richardson say they never met Miss Giuffre. In an interview with the Miami Herald, Giuffre described how she says she was trained.
Give Jeffrey what he wants. A lot of this training came from Ghislaine herself. And being a woman, it kind of surprises you that a woman could actually let stuff like that happen, but not only let it happen, but to groom you into doing it. I was young, I was scared, I knew these people were powerful. I didn't know what would happen if I said no. I didn't know what would happen if I reported them.
While the case was settled, Maxwell has consistently denied the allegations. And in court filings, Maxwell's lawyers wrote that Giuffre had utterly failed.
Why? No one's asking where she is. This report isn't like, why hasn't she been indicted? Why hasn't she been charged? Why isn't she in a prison cell? No one's asking. We don't even know where she is. They don't ask. ABC doesn't ask this question. See how they're framing it? Epstein, lone wolf, right? Ties to some people, but we're never going to really, if somebody did kill him in prison, believe me, they will make it seem like some convict, just like Jack Ruby was just mad that Oswald killed Kennedy, right?
To substantiate her patently incredible claims of being trafficked to well-known men. The attorney for Giuffre has put out a statement saying the denials of those accused of participating in Jeffrey Epstein's horrific sex trafficking operation are predictable and have long been anticipated. The truth will have the final word. And once again, this comes as the disgraced millionaire killed himself in his Manhattan jail cell. Epstein was 66 years old.
Disgraced millionaire. Guess we're going to hear some like, Jeffrey called me the night before and he felt so much shame. There's no way Jeffrey Epstein felt shame and remorse. He's an egomaniac and a sociopath and a pedophile, right? So this is who Jeffrey Epstein is. So he had these children. Powerful men would come to his home and his butler would come up and say, hey, would you like a massage from a beautiful young woman? It was always phrased it. And then this child, underage, a minor, would perform sex acts. It was videotaped. And then Epstein would use that as leverage. Okay? Then Epstein, who was a hedge fund guy, let's be real clear. He had a fake hedge fund that then he would use for extortion. Hey, powerful person who now I have evidence of you having sex with a child, raping a child, you need to now invest in my fake hedge fund. That's how we got this money. So they're really, the disgraced. Just pay close attention to this, because this is the ruling class's narrative. This is ABC, right? They're owned by Disney. This is their narrative here. They're going to try to tie this case up in a nice little bow, because the tentacles of it go everywhere. But here's the thing. It's not a coincidence that literally less than 24 hours after 2,000 pages of formerly sealed documents got released. They got released on Friday, August 9th. Saturday morning, August 10th, he kills himself. What a wacky coincidence. Just, that's so crazy. I went to this Blackstone website I'm just learning on about, but I'm going to put a link to this. I started to read some of these. These are all of the 2000 unsealed Virginia Roberts documents from 2011. Okay, Ghislaine Maxwell, I did a video about her, okay? She was invited to Chelsea Clinton's wedding 2 years after this. So what happened, Ghislaine Maxwell then, one of the things you do when you settle out of court is everything remains sealed. So when you're guilty and you don't want a case to come to trial, you settle out of court so that this evidence doesn't make it to public. It just became public yesterday. Here's just one of the things. I thumbed through the first one. Okay? This is with Sharon Correctional, who's a journalist who released some of this stuff. Virginia had a lot of conversations with her. There's even testimony that Sharon embellished on some stuff, which was made by Maxwell's attorneys to discredit. But this is just something I just pulled off like this first couple pages in. This is from May. This is from Sharon to Virginia. Don't forget Alan Dershowitz, J.E., Jeffrey Epstein's buddy and lawyer. Good name for your pitches. He's repped Klaus von Bülow, and a movie was made about him titled Reversal of Fortune. We all suspect Alan is a pedo, and though no proof of that, you probably met him when he was hanging with J.E. Alan Dershowitz represented Jeffrey Epstein in his 2008 case in Florida, where he served 13 months in this like minimal security thing where from 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. he was allowed 13 hours a day to go out, go to his house, fly on his pedophile plane. That's what happened the first time. Dershowitz defended him. So how does this happen? How does a guy on suicide watch kill himself? Weird. Jeffrey Epstein taken off suicide watch before death. Let me translate this for you. Ruling class pays guards to not guard Jeffrey Epstein so someone can go in and kill him. If you want to read, that's what that says. This is how the mob does it. This is how the mob takes people out, right? One of the things they're not releasing is I talked about the fake hedge fund. Here's what Jeffrey Epstein is worth. More than $500 million, and that he earns more than $10 million a year, though Epstein has refused to fill out a financial affidavit, prosecutors said this. Because why would he reveal, if I was making his money legal, just my investments have done well, I'm a good hedge fund guy. Right there. Because now we'll see the thing that I told you about. These powerful men and some of them women. I'm unpacking more and more of this. I'm finding and this ties into Hollywood. Like Naomi Campbell. I mean, it's just, and Ghislaine Maxwell, let's go back to Virginia Roberts real quick, implicated that Ghislaine Maxwell sexually assaulted her and a couple other women. Not just, trained them how to have sex, not just groom them to be exploited as children, but actually physically raped them, participated in sexual assault. So I'm here to tell you they're female pedophiles. I was molested by one when I was 3. That's why I'm not letting this fucking case go. That's why I'm not letting this case go. Buckle the fuck up, ruling class. I hope you all burn in hell. But let me make this clear. I have no sadness that Epstein is dead. a pedophile running a sex trafficking ring. That doesn't bother me that he's dead. I'm bothered that he was not allowed to testify. I don't want these people to just get killed and it's swept under the rug. So listen to this. They refused to fill out an affidavit because that would prove all the people that gave to his anybody that gave to his fake hedge fund. It's easy to tie it together. Flight manifests. They were at one of his New Mexico rape house, or his pedophile island, or he was on the Lolita Express, the one Bill Clinton was on. And then he donates or invests in the hedge fund, and then all you need is corroborating eyewitness. One of these women comes forward and said, yeah, that rich guy raped me when I was 15 at Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile place. Bam, bam, bam. So this is a key element. But this theory was bandied about this morning in one of these articles, and I want to address it because it's I don't think Epstein committed suicide. The only reason that would make sense to me if he committed suicide is if they threatened him in somehow, and they said, you better kill yourself, otherwise we're going to do this awful stuff to somebody or people you care about or something. I don't know what he's got, kids or nieces or nephews. I don't know what they could threaten that monster with, but there's no way he killed himself because he felt bad and he had remorse. He got away with it in 2008. He has the arrogance of the ruling class. They can't touch me. He has the money to fight this in court. This is a guy that could spend $10, $20 million on a defense that gets him off or gets him a slap on the wrist like he got last time, 13 months. Oh, this time maybe they're going to give him 36 months. Ooh, right? He has too much evidence. So the only way to him, if he was facing 45 years in prison, he could fight that legally, or he could make a deal with the prosecutor by giving them evidence. But this is something I was not aware of. Epstein's friends just lost any chance of having penthouse evidence tossed in courts. Here's why. Now what this person is bringing up is that, I'll go into it. Epstein was the only person who had legal standing to sue the investigators trying to comb through the evidence in his mansions and penthouses. So Epstein could have, and this is what his defense team more than likely would have done, you obtain the evidence illegally. When there's damning evidence and you're a defense attorney, you say you got the evidence illegally. So if you can have the evidence thrown out, it's smooth sailing. Jeffrey Epstein's the only person that could have done that. His attorneys could have filed motions to throw out that evidence. Now, however, no one has standing to put the brakes on the investigation. Okay, it's a good thing to know about the law. What we will see unravel, this is either going to start and it's really going to happen, and there's going to be some investigators that are actually honorable people that are going to get this and they're not going to back down. But I don't know how, if they're going to have a hard time not backing down to the ruling class and to their bosses. Heads of FBI, CIA, I mean, who knows? People high up in the intelligence community. We know it's people high up in government. Shit, a former president flew on his plane 26 times. That's about as high up as it gets. So Ghislaine Maxwell, whose dad was a Mossad agent who died mysteriously, that's how high up this is. So while this is good, I guess, from a legal standpoint, I'm just curious to see how quickly this stuff gets shuffled up. And you see, as I showed you before, ABC, Epstein killed himself. They're not even questioning that. They didn't even question how did this happen in protective custody on Suicide Watch. ABC News didn't even question that. Okay? Disgraced. Oh, we're gonna get some email. Watch, just be real careful. Some email. Oh, Jeffrey Epstein was depressed. He felt guilty, and oh yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald just was able to get off 3 rounds on a moving target, and the bullet just came right around against the president that said he wanted to break up the CIA and end the war machine. Of course that happened. Jack Ruby was just a patriot who just was a A mobbed up club owner who was just beyond himself. Sure, got it. So while this is a good point to bring up from a legal standpoint, let's just see how this plays out. Because I bet you this evidence is going to get swept up. I predicted they were going to kill him in prison. The minute they denied him bail, I was like, oh God, they're going to kill him in prison. If we don't hear any more about this and Ghislaine Maxwell just kind of floats into the wind, no one's asking in the mainstream media, why the hell isn't she brought up? Because here's something else that just came out this morning from a former inmate that stayed in the exact facility where Jeffrey Epstein was. There's no way Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. There's no way. I asked Eric Oldenburg, the former child crimes detective investigator that I interviewed on this show. That's another great video you should watch, who gives you the point of view of a child crimes investigator with regard to this Epstein case. And I asked him, I called him this morning when it happened. I was like, dude, did you see this? He goes, oh man. I go, how does a guy kill himself on suicide watch? He goes, Graham, maybe he used his clothing. We take shoelaces away from people. Man, I remember getting a drunk and disorderly when I was in my 20s in a Chicago drunk tank and they took my shoelaces away. This is the most high-profile guy. And he said, Graham, it's really hard. He goes, I don't know what that facility looks like, but maybe he took his shirt sleeve and tied it to a doorknob. He goes, maybe. He goes, it's a slim chance. And he brought up Occam's razor. He goes, the simplest answer is usually the most correct one. There's no way a billionaire who has endless money to fight this in court would kill himself, who's proven himself to be arrogant. He's beaten it before. I'm untouchable. I'm rich. You can't touch me. I'm friends with pedophile leaders and billionaires. You can't. He said, maybe. He goes, Graham, maybe, But listen to this from this actual facility. You have sheets, but they're paper level, not strong enough. He was 200 pounds. It would never happen. Again, this is from a guy. This is from the New York Post. This ex-con wants to remain anonymous. When you're on suicide watch, they put you in this white smock, a straitjacket. They know a person cannot be injurious to themselves. Could he have done it from the bed? No, sir. There's a steel frame, but you can't move it. There's no light fixture. There's no bars. And there's a cop at the door about every 9 minutes, whether you're on suicide watch or not. So as I just said, they took him off suicide watch, but even so, there should be a cop there every 9 minutes. They paid off somebody got in there, and they killed him. And they know this. Now, again, this is the way I see the ruling class operate. They're evil, and these are pedophiles. These are sinister, evil, a pedophile sex trafficking ring. That means they sat in one of their nice mansions and they planned it out like a business. How do we do this? How do we scoop up these girls and these young boys? And how do we do that? Oh, let's go to disadvantage. Let's go to a place where there's a hurricane. There's poor kids in a third world country. There's a girl that's a runaway. That's what you do. They mapped it out. They're sociopaths. So they have endless money and they don't want this to come out. Prince Andrew, the royal family, we're talking about the Rothschilds then, right? They're pretty goddamn evil. We're talking about both political parties in this country and the billionaires that fund everything. We're talking about Hollywood. They're going to try to sweep this under the rug. I will not. I will keep going after this. The more evidence I get, the more I'm going to talk about this. Please support the show. I can almost guarantee you this will get demonetized while it's uploading. The Ghislaine Maxwell video got demonetized. The interview with the child crimes investigator got demonetized. So please support this show. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood. The link is in the show notes below. You can support my show for as little as $5 a month. I have a P.O. box on my website, GrahamElwood.com. If you don't want to do anything digitally and you want to send me a money order or whatever, I appreciate that. You can go to Rokfin, ROKFIN.com/Graham Elwood. That link is in the show notes below. Rokfin, I put all my videos on Rokfin. It is a blockchain cryptocurrency. And of course, those of you new to the show, I'm a comedian. I know this one isn't very funny, but I go on the road, and please go to my tour dates. September 4th through the 8th, I'm with Ron Placone. We've both been on the Jimmy Dore Show a lot. In Omaha, Sioux Falls, Madison, Minneapolis, and Iowa City. And then, of course, I'm going to Russia the end of September. And then November, we are going to Australia. November 14th, Melbourne. November 15th, Adelaide. November 17th, Sydney. November 22nd, Perth. The Sydney ticket link isn't up yet, but all the other ones are. Join us at one of these cities. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe. Hit the subscribe button, please. If you're new to the show, that helps me. Liking the videos. These are free ways to help me. Positive comments, all that stuff, and sharing these videos. All this helps me do this type of independent media. We see how the corporate media is handling it. I'm not going to handle it that way. I'm going to tell you straight, and I'm going to give you my opinion. This is just to hear the video. There's no producer, no oligarch is telling me what to do. I'm in my apartment. If I had oligarchs behind me, I'd have a much better production value, and I'd probably wear a collared shirt, but then I wouldn't be able to show WikiLeaks. Thanks for watching.